Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Looking at this story founded on the break from thestar.com up in Canada, and this goes back to our last caller. 888-589-8840, by the way, is the number if you want to call and join the conversation. 888-589-8840. And here is the story from thestar.com. Anti-gay pamphlets broke law, Supreme Court of Canada says. The Supreme Court of Canada upheld a key part of anti-hate speech law and maintained penalties levied against an anti-gay campaigner. In an important decision that upheld the main anti-hate provisions in Saskatchewan's human rights law, Canada's top court ruled vitriolic anti-gay speech in flyers distributed by a Christian activist is not protected by the charter. So, in other words, it is hate speech. It's a hate crime to defend or promote a biblical view of sexuality in the country of Canada. This had to do with a guy by the name of William Watcott of Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Watcott said the ruling criminalizes a large part of Christian speech on homosexuality and morality. Unapologetic, he suggested he may put out another flyer on expressing that viewpoint, and it will be written in what he calls his usual blunt and forthright style. So he's just telling the truth about homosexual behavior and has been found guilty of a hate crime, guilty of hate speech. And so that's what's going on up in Canada. So no diversity up there, no willingness, no freedom in the country of Canada to be able to express your own point of view about sexuality. You either agree with us or you go to prison. I mean, where is the diversity in that? You know, we're willing to let people make the argument for gay marriage as best they can. We don't try to shut them up. We don't try to silence them. We deal with their arguments and we try to refute them. And we show how empty they are. That's part of the debate. That's part of the dialogue. But those that promote same-sex relationships, not interested in any kind of debate. They don't want to have a debate and then have these issues resolved according to the democratic process. They want their will, their view imposed on the rest of us. 888-589-8840 is the number to call. Let's grab a call from Brian in Conway, Arkansas. Brian, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hey, young man, just a few things if you got a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really think about Sodom and Gomorrah and how God destroyed that and how the end of days, you know, we're not going to be destroyed with a flood, but a lot of Revelation obviously talks about some heat coming down. And so, you know, I think the homosexuality that was in Sodom and Gomorrah and now how it seems to be just really taking over here of late. And, you know, if they decide, if the Supreme Court of the land decides that, you know, hey, this is unconstitutional, whatever the case is, well, then our churches obviously are going to be inundated with people who want to speak from the pulpits and that sort of thing. And obviously, if you decline that they do that, then obviously there comes your lawsuits or your tax exemption status or whatever the case is. And, you know, it's so difficult for me anymore I love listening to AFR and I love listening to you guys, but it's so difficult anymore just to listen because there seems to be so much that's going on, but so little that we're able to do. And I know a lot of people may disagree with me, but I think it's time for some civil disobedience. And I know that a lot of people may refrain from that, and I know you probably can't comment on it one way or the next, but I'm sure.
I will tell you this, Brian, that the time for civil disobedience, you're right, and it is here. And there are many leading Christian organizations that are prepared, including the American Family Association, that we are prepared to engage in civil disobedience. We will not pay for abortions. American Family Association will not do it. James Dobson will not do it. Rick Warren will not do it. Robert Jeffress, First Baptist Church, Dallas, will not do it. And it does not matter whether Barack Obama showed up in Dr. Jeffress's pulpit and ordered him to do it. He will not do it. So that's civil disobedience. We are not going to allow the government to order us to violate our conscience and to take innocent human life with our own money. We just simply are not going to do it. So I think we're at that point, Brian, where civil disobedience is what is called for when it comes to this abortifacient mandate. And you're going to find the same thing. You know, our caller wanted to know whether Catholic churches are going to be ordered to perform same-sex ceremonies up in Canada. And the reality is I don't know the answer to that question. But I would be very surprised if the time did not come when they were ordered to do that very thing, because it would be a criminal act for them not to do it. It would be a hate crime not to marry two people of the same sex. And there's no reason that I can see why the government of Canada would exempt the Roman Catholic Church or Protestant churches from being ordered and forced to perform these kind of ceremonies. And so that will be another example where civil disobedience is the very thing that is called for. You know, you've got this meeting run by the Methodist Church in New Jersey, and they would not rent their facility for a same-sex ceremony. They got taken into court. So it became it was in civil court there, but it became a civil offense for them. They violated civil statute, according to the state of New Jersey, by not renting their facility to a couple for a same-sex kind of ceremony or reception or something of the sort. So, you know, I agree with you, Brian. You know, we want to be extremely careful about civil disobedience. You know, the apostles were very clear. We must obey God rather than man. So if the choice comes down to it where you have man ordering you to do something, and you have God ordering you to do something else, and you cannot do both, you cannot obey both God and man, then we must obey God. And I guarantee you, Brian, there are a lot of Christian organizations, AFA is one of them, where we will engage in civil disobedience before we will spend $1 of our supporters' money paying for abortions. All right, Brian, listen, I appreciate that. Thank you for that. You know, and it's a sign of just how bad things have to get. You know, we're actually talking here about civil disobedience, about rebelling, civil disobedience against our own government in a Christian country founded on Judeo-Christian principles. And yet we've got a government, we have a president that insists that we violate our own conscience, insists that we spend our own money to kill babies, or we're going to be penalized as a result. I mean, it's just astonishing that we've reached the point that we have in America. But I believe Brian's right. The time is now. I mean, the time has come. The time is here for civil disobedience, and the place it starts is with that abortifacient mandate. If the Obama administration will not back down, will not recognize the rights of conscience of Christian businesses and Christian ministries, you are going to get civil disobedience. Let's go to James, Midway Park, North Carolina. James, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Well, there was a time when judges referred to the Bible as the supreme law. In any case where there was any difficulty, they always went to the Bible, and that's where they got their judgments from, and they judge righteously. Now, what I don't understand is why people want to serve Obama, the Supreme Court, and Satan when they could serve the God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That's the only choice you got, people. That's the only choice there is. Either you're going to worship the Lord and serve the Lord. There's a difference, because your service to God don't start until after you get out of your little worship service in the first place and get out and open your mouth and stand up for Jesus, period. Now, and not only that, this backstabbing of Israel. The man's going to give another $500 million to the Palestinians after all that sweet double talk he did over the air and glad handing with everybody over. Everybody knows he's a liar. And if Mr. Netanyahu falls for that line of bull, then he's a bigger fool than Obama is.
Now, what James is talking about here is that President Obama, Congress had held up $500 million that had been designated for the Palestinian Authority. Now, the Palestinian Authority, these are the people that publish school books for Palestinian school children that do not have Israel located on them anywhere. Israel is gone. Israel does not exist according to the maps that these elementary school students learn from in Palestinian schools. The Palestinian Authority is the organization that wants to blow up Jewish school children, blow up school buses, blow up cafeterias, sending rockets down into people's backyards and schoolyards. And President Obama freed up that $500 million, just overrode the congressional hold on that money, and they're sending it to the Palestinian Authority. So they don't have money to have White House tours for sixth graders from Iowa, but he can free up $500 million for an organization that's trying to kill Jews and wipe them off the map. All right, James, listen, I appreciate that. Let's go to B in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. B, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Thank you. I was just wanting to make, some comments about your segment today. I believe in equal rights for all people.
Correct.
No matter if they're homosexual or heterosexual.
Right.
They deserve the same rights as every American citizen does.
Correct.
And, to put them in a category saying you cannot marry simply because of your orientation.
Well, wait a minute. Well, wait, B. They have equal rights.
No.
Right now, they have equal rights. They can get married just like everybody else in America can to one adult, non-relative member of the opposite sex. They have exactly the same right to get married that you and I do.
Sex, not the same sex.
Oh, no, it is. It's exactly the same right. They have exactly the same right. They can marry one adult, non-relative member of the opposite sex just like everybody else in America can be. That's absolute equality under the law. They've already got marriage equality, full 100% marriage equality. They've got it right now.
Excuse me, it's my turn.
I'm sorry?
Okay. I feel like Rosa Parks, like I'm sitting at the back of the bus.
All right, B, can you hang on? Can you hold on over the break a couple minutes? I'd like to keep talking with you if I can. Focal Point after talk back in 2.